Now let's go ahead and work on the fading out of the covers and the fading in of the dark tower. So on the cover comp, I'm going to go ahead and twirl open the transparency by hitting T. And now we already know it's visible all the way until this point. So what I want to do is make sure that it only turns invisible when I want it to, which is right about here. So I'm going to turn the opacity on for this layer right here, because don't forget, it's all visible until it gets here, and I want to lock that visibility in. Then I'm going to slowly fade it out, maybe about 5 seconds or so, and I'll dial that down. So I'm going to go ahead and just manually see how it looks. All right, so far so good. It's visible as visible, fades away. Now what I want to do is I'm going to twirl the comps closed, and we're going to twirl open the transparency for the tower. Once again, T. Now the tower is going to start to fade in when the covers start to fade out. So I'm going to go ahead to where the covers start, just eyeballing it, something I always do. And I'm going to lock the tower down at 0 for sure. So I'm going to just go ahead and slide that to 0. I'm going to scrub to make sure the tower doesn't come back, because there is a keyframe for the tower here as well. Now we didn't have to do that, of course, but I want him to start invisible, unlike the covers, which start visible. So I'm locking in his transparency in the exact opposite fashion of the covers. Now, when the covers go away, the tower comes in. So we're going to scrub to 100%. Once again, it's inverse of the covers. All right, so let's go ahead and hit home. And of course, we're not going to sit through this whole thing. I'm just going to scrub and see what we have here. Very cool so far. All right, so what we need to do now is bring in the logo. And I want the logo to come in last, because that's going to be the end of the sequence. So I'm going to twirl close the tower, and we're going to find the logo and twirl him open. Now, like the tower, the logo starts out invisible as well. So what we want to do is we want to lock that invisibility here. So what I can do is grab this keyframe, edit, copy, and then on this part of the timeline, go to edit, paste. So what I'm going to do is make sure I'm on the right layer, all right? And we can now paste that keyframe, which means the logo is going to stay invisible. And then right about here, we're going to bring him into full view. The dark tower. And I'm going to go ahead and scrub, as I always do. I'm going to click on the blank spot to deselect. Nice. Now, I'm going to go ahead and save my file, just to make sure. I've had the computer crash on me quite a few times back in the day, and it's never fun. All right, so now that we have all of our elements in place, what we need to do now is just bring in our ground. Now I'm going to go to my art assets here, and I want to show you something. I changed the artwork for the landscape, and I got rid of one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and hit delete on my keyboard on this one and show you how we can replace this one. So just in case you ever have missing footage, you're going to get this little television symbol here, like you see on TV when you have like something crazy going on with the weather. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to replace that footage. And I'm going to grab this new one that I painted, Desert Floor. Well, not painted, but created inside of Photoshop. And I'm going to just simply drag him where he belongs. And I'll put him in position. And I'm just going to scrub. All right, so I'm going to make sure I have that in view. And the tower is going to show up. I'm also going to take this and move it down just a little bit as well. I don't want the tower to wind up being obscured by that. All right, very cool. Now I have to bring, of course, the logo to the front. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the logo and just bring him to the top of the desert layer. Next, we'll talk about how we can use a solid to create our own fade in and fade out, and that will wrap up this project.